Okay, folks, this is a bit of a different one today. I'm not sure if you remember, but a couple of videos or so ago I was talking about a book called Black Bridge. Well, the author reached out to me and asked me to do a wee cover thing for him, which is going to be in a magazine, so we'll see how this works out. This is a commission for him. Okay. So it's a bit of a horror story. This is a place called the Other World in here, and this is the Headless Horseman, and a type of old Irish ruins with a stormy background. We'll see how it works. Right, so I'm going to begin by just laying down some greys, real greys here, and lots of it will be cool greys. Okay. Now all I'm doing here is just I'm adding plenty of mineral spirits here, folks. This is just the background. Going in for the time being. Darks. Just playing with it. Actually, it needs to be a bit thinner than that. A good bit thinner. It's kind of going to be almost see-through. I'm just laying down this tone here. I want it a bit bluer than that, so let's make it a bit bluer than that. Okay. And yeah, I'll put out a bit of blue, a bit of ultramarine here. There's plenty of cerulean. Okay, let's just play with this. Let's keeping it blue. I'd rather have it more blue and then come back and tone it in a grey whenever the chance comes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a blue and then grey it later. This is a very dark patch here. Just boom, staying away from the horsey for the time being. Okay, now of course a lot of this will be dried soon enough. Now I want some reds down in here, some oranges and some reds. So some liquid, plenty of mineral spirits. They're just creating this contrast of warm and cool. All the coolers up here in the skies and a warm-ish ground here. I've kind of come to the conclusion now, folks, that I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop putting on the tape around it, but what I'll do is at the end of it I will put a mask around it so it looks as if I've got the tape on it, because I've just been finding that the tape kind of warps the canvas a bit too much, pulls it in, and I don't like the effects of it. Okay, so I'll be doing it that way, I think, in the future. Some sort of greenish grey clouds here. And we're moving up into a nice orangey spot up in here, so I'm just going to be a bit cautious about what I'm laying down here. Lots and lots of mineral spirits to grey this out. That's far too green. It's a bit better. I just keeping in mind, folks, that this is nothing but removing the white off the canvas for the time being. That's all I'm doing here. And I'm doing it in a way that is a similar-ish colour to what's going on than the finished product. Okay. I just want a bit of a darker side down here. More blue, more blue. And just down in here too. More blue. Nice and cold. Down into some misty moments down in here. Too saturated, far too saturated. So let's knock it back a little touch. Right. Now, let's do this orangey, creamy area here. Just around here, just keeping this. I can't talk tonight. Terrible. Keeping this bright. Okay. All right. Let me just see where we are. Let me just get this part of it in here as well. A bit of a bluey, peaky thing here happening. Just working on this area here, and this area I'm going to have is a fair bit warmer, so I can get the contrast of cool and warm. I'm actually going to work on up in here, but before I do, I'm going to change this brush and move into this one here. And let me see. Okay. Oh, that's Wrong brush. Wrong brush, it was too dirty. I'll use a new one that hasn't been touched. Anyway, back to it. In here. Okay, this is alright now. It's okay for an underpaint, what do you think, eh? Just keeping this so misty, folks. Right, let me just come up into here, bit of a darker vignette up in here. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to smooth everything, or blend every, oh, I've got a whole load of paint on my hands, give me a second. Right, I'm just going to blend out all these clouds in. Okay. And this gives me the chance later on to come in and completely sculpt this the way I want it to be. Whenever this area here is, this area is dry, I'll be able to come in with the brighter sky and sculpt into the clouds. That's the plan. Now let's see whether that works or not. So this paint will be a lot of glazing and scumbling and whatnot. Now this here is too dark. In the end it was too dark, so I'm going to lighten it. I don't want it that dark. And I don't want it that blue, but that's fine. Where I am, it's fine. I'm just going to be using it to lighten this for now. I'm just going to have another go at this sky here and just mess around, make these a wee bit fluffier. Scraping it up and putting it on, and there we go, lightening. See where that just lifted some of those areas? Alright, now where am I? I'll work here. So I will work here. Let me see. I'm using a whole load of brushes here, and I'm just going to clean a few. So, making this a grey brown, which will still be warmer than what's here, of course. Maybe a bit later. Okay. Darker over in this corner. I like to vignette things like this. Like the, let me just get this washed off. Right, now I want to put some of this ground, or this sky, sorry, into the ground, of course. It all fits nice and green along here. Because the sky is, of course, informing the ground. Right. I think I'm going to lighten, or I'm going to up the exposure a touch, just so that you can kind of see the idea of what I'm going for here. Okay. Let's put down some darks, patches of it here and there, and blues, and all multicolored here. And because I'm mixing everything all together, all multicolored as it were, it's going to end up a dark brownish, which is kind of almost what I'm after. Okay, now get these nice dark patches in, and then I will move on to the other parts of it. Right, so now this area here isn't filled in, and I need to make sure that I get in and around him done properly. So because I have that in my mind, I think I'm going to work on that now. Oh, I do. I had forgotten about it, and I want to make sure that I don't forget about it again. Okay, I'm just getting this. See, this, for me, this frames him, this sets him. Now it's going to be misted out, it's going to be barely noticeable when the time comes, but this sets him in the landscape for me. This gives him a framing. Okay, so I'm going to soften this out a bit. If it won't lift, it will probably lift, but we'll see. I'll actually use some of this guy here and this, just to really knock back this edge. There we go. And the same up here. Yeah, I just want you to barely be able to see that. But you can also see how it puts him in the frame here. I'll probably make it a wee bit more apparent. Although, you know what, no, maybe not. Maybe not. I just had a look at it there and it's fine. So let's mess up this line here. It's a bit too sharp for what it's meant to be. This fog line here. Alright, okay. Now, okay, let me just, is there anything I can do now? I think I'm going to just put down some oranges. And then I can tone them a wee bit later. I want this, because of all the blue up here, I want the contrast of orange somewhere in the painting. And I'll probably have a wee orange light up in, say, about here. Actually, a little mark for it. and then somewhere around about here. Always looking for contrast, folks. Always looking for contrast. Whether it's tonal contrast, blacks and whites and everything in between, or whether it's cool and warms, or whether it's the contrast of colors, the blue against the orange and the green against the red and so on, you know, that type of contrast. And they don't have to be, it doesn't, one misconception actually is it doesn't have to be a stark cadmium red against the stark green. It can be a very, very pale grey red against a very pale grey green, or a pale grey red against a very stark green. But the idea is to get that contrast. Right, so I'm just going to mess about here. Lots of liquid, and all I'm doing is just laying down his path for now. This may take a day or two to tack up for me. That's going to take a number of coats. So it is. Alright. Let's just come up into here. Create this sharp line here. Now you have to remember that up in this area, it's mostly cloud, and all this is just painting in the idea of these edges of this cliff top fort, or ruin would be a better way to put it. Right, now I'll use a different brush. It's a bit too big for the small panickety stuff that I'm trying to do. I'll get back on the small stick. Right, alright, down in here, and then I'll blend it, or not blend it, I'll soften it all up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now. And the same up in here. You just work this around. This is all the cloudies, all the clouds up in here. Just taking the edges of these buildings here at the top. And I know I just refined them, but that's just for me, so that I can see where it is and I know where it's going and all of that. You know? Right, let's just soften it up in areas here. Here we go. And then I can come along and sharpen all that up. The tree in it did throw me a bit, I must say. I forgot about it, and it's kind of played with me a wee bit, but I think I'll be okay. Whenever I get all of it glazed, that will properly recede. That tree will properly recede into the background. So I'm going to do another little walk back, have a look, and I'll probably call that for today. What do I think? I think I'm actually going to thicken a certain area of it here and thin a certain area of it here. So I'm going to, it's the tree that I'm thinking of here. I'm just going to put a little bit of brightness in here just to create a shape. Alright, that'll do it for the time being. I'll work that. I'll work that into the. Okay. Now I also want to create a bit of a thicker branch here. So a bit of a darker color than that. Still playing with it, folks, just playing with it. Let me see here. And this will all be covered up with if you can see that. Now, I need to take a look at this building here. I want to put a little light in there, which is what I will do forthwith. I will do that right now. So I want it to be a very obvious orange. Right, so let me see now, just a little square here. Not a square, like an upside down L-ish. There, and then I will lighten the epicenter of it. Lighten the oh, goodness me. Lighten the center of it is what I'll do. just in there. Oh my goodness, I slipped. Myself a bit of a cleanish brush, or I'll just use this. This will help. There we go. See, now that to me donates a little bit of a life there. So it does. So let's get back up into here and create the other side of the sharpening the image, which is sharpening the image with painting it in. Okay. It looks quite monstrous, doesn't it? All hidden off in the mist. I found it hard to speak today. I wonder what that's all about. Right, so I'm going to get out one of my wee softening brushes here and just work a lot of this in. Now, I'm going to take a step back and have a wee look at this tree, whether I should knock it back a little bit further. Now, what I'm definitely not keen on is how the clouds have become quite uniform, and you'll see what I mean when I point this out. 1, 2, 3. I don't like that, so I will endeavour to fix such a thing. Where's my brush? Actually, I'll use the softer brush here. So just knock this back a bit. It's a bit too it's a bit too bright for my purposes at the minute. See, I just want to soften this up a bit here. Let's create a more of a bluish, greyish one. Touch of green, or a touch of yellow, sorry. Green it up a bit, mixing it with what's down, bit of a darker colour. That red will knock the green out of that a little bit. So let me see. Slightly, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that is slightly a different tone. Nice and soft, folks. As clouds should be, nice and soft. And up in here, just hiding that part of the tree. And a little bit brighter in here, just to accentuate that. And then of course, coming along with the very soft foam brush to knock it all back. And now I'm going to take another step back and see if I got rid of that triad of clouds. Let me see where get my glasses before I go anywhere. I'm unsure if I like it or not. Yeah, I think I know what's happening here. All right, okay. And continue to work with it. I'll get a bit of another brush. Where's mine? There we go. I think just want to break this up here a bit here. Get some light coming in around here. Now let me just do that wee cloud thing that I had earlier and see if it works with this brush. It doesn't really, sure doesn't. Nope. Just let that cloud there go off on its own, as it were. Now, back into here and just see. I'm just shaping and reshaping these clouds is all I'm doing, folks. Till I'm relatively happy with them. And let me see, what do I think the problem is? I think the problem is this one and these three here. So I'm going to get rid of the top one. There's no need for him to be up in there. All right. It kind of, and helps accentuate this branch here. So let me just soften this out a touch. Nice and gently on this one. I don't want to just remove what I've just done. Right, so let's take another step back on this. Yeah, no, yes, yeah, yeah, that's it. Okay, and I'm just wondering if the ruins needs a bit more mist around it. I don't think so. If it does, it's the tiniest bit here and there. I'll tell you what, and I'll do it so I will, but I'll do it with an extremely dry brush and a more of a proper, barely noticeable scumble on it. So I'll just take this and I'll really wipe it off, and then I'll just put it up here. And just see how that's just leaving it behind and no more. Just bring that mist up a little bit up and into the house, into the ruin a little bit more. And now let's take some of it off. A little bit here and a little bit there. And sometimes whenever I'm in this mood, I can feel myself being a bit too panicky. But what I definitely need to do, which I almost forgot to do, is put in a really white spot. Just for the light shining through, just about, I'd say, here. And that'll accentuate the limb of that tree as well. And now I'm going to really wipe this off and then mess around with the edges of it. And what I really need to do is change my glasses back. I'm still using the distance glasses. All right, now. I just want to work in this edge. Now, not so much along the branch arm, but a bit for sure. just being cognizant of this, being gentle. I don't know how much you can see here, but I am barely touching the canvas here. Now I'm going to go a little bit heavier on the outer parts of this. But initially there I was barely touching that canvas. So soft. There we go. Now that expands it. Right, so let me see now. I want to now, well, that I have these colors here, I want to accentuate this area down here. And I just checking this for brightness, and I think it's a bit too bright, but we'll see. Let me just see here. Maybe more, maybe too saturated rather than too bright. Just okay. Now the other side of the rider here. This is where the light is shining over him. And that'll help that shadow stick out a bit. A little bit behind him as well. Kind of surrounding him in light, as it were. And a little bit ahead of him too. Not very bright, not as bright as what I've been putting down, but just a little bit along here. All right. A little bit of orange and ahead of him here, just here. And then let's work up into this here. I think this is okay, and I'm just being, yeah, I'm alright. I don't want to be turning that green. No, I'm fine with this. So now, a little bit of extra work on the Horseman here, and then I'm going to leave this area here to see whether I like it or not. Just before I do, I'm just going to soften certain areas of this here. Okay. I get a nice highlight around the base of that horse there. Right, so I'm almost done with this, folks. Almost all done with it. I'm just going to add a little bit more in here. This is a bit of a brighter, just a touch brighter. Now let's work on this here. Maybe create a sharper edge. So let's get some black and some blue, ultramarine blue. Good bit of liquid. And that's, yep, just darken this out a bit. I'm staying away from the edges for now. I will place them in momentarily. And I'll most likely change my brush to put those in. But we'll see how sharp this brush, what it creates. So a good bit of thinner here, just to come down to here a little bit. Right, now I'm going to be a bit of a thicker paint application. Ultramarine blue and in lamp black, and I'm just going to paint in the sharpness of this. And the same here. Let me just create that sharp. There we go. Now I'm going to take a little bit of it off. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of it off and use a new piece. Okay. Right, now let's just get the base of it messed it up a bit. And I think then this is all but it, I think. A little bit more ultramarine in it, just a little bit of cerulean too. And I think let me get this. There we go. I just want to, I think I might have sharpened the edges here a bit too much. I'm just going to gently soften them. Just let that fade into that a little bit. There we go. All right. I'm just having one wee last look at it. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm, as I say, this is a commission, so whenever it's commission, I don't know how other people feel, but it can make me feel a bit differently about the process. Right, okay folks, that'll do for now. I don't like this. This has gone green on me and I didn't intend that. So, let's ungreen it. Okay, now let's just really bring this back a bit. Gently now, I don't want to be taking it off the canvas. So just nice and gently in there. Okay. There's a little flack above him, which I'm just going to remove. we go. Okay, that'll do, folks. I'll see you again soon enough. I'll maybe come back and have another wee go at this, but for the time being, I think that's me done. Okay, folks, all the best. Oh, no, I'm not done yet. I didn't even get the chance to hit stop there. I just noticed the wee light up here. The wee light, I want to have a go at that. Kind of create a bit of a glow around it, you know. Now, probably a bit thicker application than that. Right, let me just work this in with quite a soft brush, if I can find one. Yeah, that'll do there. There we go. Now we've got a bit of a glow around it, so let's add a bit of light in it. I'm just going to use some white and the tiniest bit of yellow. Let's go right into the center of it here. And there we go. And that will do. Now, all the best, folks. I'll see you again soon enough. Bye for now.